One.
All right, this is some annotation for to build a fire and how I think through what's happening in the text. Okay, so we also call this close reading because I'm going to be looking really closely in the text. And I want you to have this paper out because we're going to check off the different types of annotations that I make as I go. Okay. All right, so it looks like the title of this is To Build a Fire by Jack London. And it looks like it was published in 1908, which is pretty old. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and circle this right here. And immediately when I saw this, I kind of made a connection. And this reminded me of, a time camping and a time when I tried to build a fire. And we made a huge bonfire, I remember, by the beach, and it was pretty cool. So I like fire. Fire is good. All right. So there's my little connection. I want you to go ahead and check that off down there, little personal connection. And if you have a connection with fire, go ahead and write that down. Maybe you didn't do a bonfire by the beach, but maybe right now you can write down your little connection that you have had with fire. Okay. All right. This is how Jack London starts his story. Day had broken, cold and gray, exceedingly cold and gray, when the man turned aside from the main Yukon Trail and climbed the high earth bank, where a dim and little-traveled trail led eastward through the fat spruce timberland. Okay, well, I noticed a couple things right away. I'm trying to get a picture of what's happening here, and I see the Yukon Trail, and I see this earth bank. I'm trying to get it. Looks like there's a trail, but what really sticks out to me beside all that is this repetition of these words right here, cold and gray, exceedingly cold and gray. And I'm going to go ahead and underline that. And I'm just going to write down the word repetition because I know this is repetition. He's repeating it for effect. And I can also see this other word right over here. It looks like he used the word dim, I think, over here too. Yeah, dim. So I have cold and gray and dim. And so I get this feeling there's kind of like this mood, this atmosphere that's being set off at the very beginning of the text. I'm going to go ahead and write down mood. And that the mood here is going to be something gloomy and dismal. Okay, so I'm noticing some atmospheric effect already, some mood already. And I'm going to go ahead and check that off my list here, that I did find a mood for the text, okay, just for a part of the text anyway, how we're supposed to feel. All right, let's keep going. It was a steep bank, and he paused for the breath at the top, excusing the act to himself by looking at his watch. It was 9 o'clock. There was no sun, nor hint of sun, though there was not a cloud in the sky. It was a clear day, and yet there seemed an intangible pall over the face of things, a subtle gloom that made the day dark, and that was due to the absence of sun. This fact did not worry the man. That's kind of weird. I'd be pretty worried. I'm kind of thinking about this beginning of the story right here, and this part of the plot. I can tell what the author's trying to do here. It looks like there's part of this exposition in this plot, and I can tell that we've got this mood that's really gloomy, and it says that there's no hint of sun, but it's odd that he says this right here. This fact did not worry the man. So right now I'm going to go ahead and write down a couple things. One, we have the exposition, and I see in this exposition a little bit of foreshadowing or just kind of a hint at the future. Things don't look really good. It almost looks like there's some little hints here that are dropped in that something bad is about to happen. The day is dark. But I'm kind of wondering right here, my question is it doesn't worry the man. So why? Is he overconfident, or is he just really experienced? And so he really knows what he's doing here in the Yukon. I'm going to write that down. Is he overconfident? Another question. Experienced? Notice that I don't expect you to write full sentences here. These, I want you to write quickly, and I want you to get the basic ideas down, okay? He was used to the lack of sun. It had been days since he had seen the sun, and he knew that for a few more days must pass before that cheerful orb due south would just peep above the skyline and dip immediately from view. Okay, so he knows that this is the way it's supposed to be. Yet I'm still feeling a little bit leery about this because the day is so dark. I'm going to keep reading here. The man flung a look back along the way he had come. The Yukon lay a mile wide and hidden under 3 feet of ice. On top of this ice was many feet of snow. It was all pure white, rolling into gentle undulations where ice jams of the freeze-up had formed. North and south, as far as I could see, was unbroken white, save for a dark hairline that curved and twisted from around the spruce-covered island to the south, and that curved and twisted away in the north, where it disappeared behind another spruce-covered island. That dark hairline was the trail, the main trail, that led south 500 miles to Chilkoot Pass, Dyea, and the saltwater, and led north 70 miles to Dawson, and still on to the north 1,000 miles to Nulato, and finally to St. Michael in the Bering Sea, 1,000 miles and a half, 1,000 more. Wow. So I'm going to do a real quick summary here of this whole area. I was trying to get a picture of what this looked like, and I remember the trail and some of the description he had, but it looks like he's traveling. This is my summary right here. He's traveling, okay, a harsh, snow-covered trail in winter. It must be in winter. And I'm going to put down that this is a vast area. It's very large. It looks like it was several, very wide, and just a feeling of being extremely large. I also thought about this too. I was thinking about Jack London's experiences in the Yukon. I'm going to write that down over here. That this reminds me that he lived. I'm going to write this down. London lived in Alaska, and it was about gold. And I'm kind of wondering if this has something with gold. I remember this show on TV called Yukon Men, and I heard that word Yukon, and I'm wondering if this has to do with gold, and I wonder if it has to do with his search for gold, and I wonder if it has anything to do with the fact that London did not like this at all. Okay, so maybe this is his tone, that he doesn't like this man. So I'm put a little question mark there, but I remember that London lived in Alaska. Okay, let me check off a couple other things here. So far, what we've done is we have done this right here. We've done some elements of plot. We did clarify something. We did summarize something. You can check that off down there. I did question something. I did make an author connection. Okay, let's keep going. All right, lots of stuff going on there. But all this, the mysterious far-reaching hairline trail, the absence of sun from the sky, the tremendous cold, and the strangeness and weirdness of all made no impression on the man. It was not because he was long used to it. He was a newcomer in the land, a Chakako, and this was his first winter. I'm going to circle that word. That is really important. The trouble with him was that he was without imagination. He was quick and alert in the things of life, but only in the things and not the significances. All right, I'm going to stop right here. This looks like this has really got a connection. That right here, I'm going to write this down, this word Chakako, and I think this means newcomer. But I feel like there's a tone being revealed right here too. It says the trouble with him was that he was without imagination. And I'm starting to see a definite tone from the author right here. It says the trouble with him. The trouble with him. I think there's definitely a tone of disapproval here. I think that Jack London disapproves of this man because he is a newcomer. He must not be respecting the man. It says he was quick and alert in the things of life, but only in the things, not in the significances. Kind of starting to see a theme emerge here, or some type of message. And I feel like the message here is, so far, is that this new guy thinks he knows everything, but he doesn't. Okay, maybe the theme is man does not respect nature. And I'm just going to write that down because I have a question mark. Is that the type of theme that we have? 50 degrees below zero meant 80 odd degrees of frost. Such a fact impressed him as being cold and uncomfortable, and that was all. It did not lead him to meditate upon the frailty as a creature of temperature.